Oh. Guys, sun is shining, you know what time it is. We're going to get this steering rack pulled off this car. I already have started in the last episode. Let me show you what I'm up to.
Guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. So just recapping on the last video, we had to get all the cable crimped and connectors of the broken and damaged wires back together, which I think I've pretty done a neat job on that. Then we had to trim the bumper down and get that temporary grille put back in place. But by gosh, I think you'll agree that the car is going back together.
There you go. Check her out. Check her out. So I started off on both sides by taking the wheels off and then taking the track rod end out of the steering rack. So all I now need to do is drop this under tray underneath. It's going to be hard to show you, but basically what we're trying to take off is that black brace there, because these connections are the steering rack connections. So I've disconnected them from the steering rack now, and then what I'm going to do, I've dropped that bolt out just there on the bottom plate. I'm just dropping out the bolt on the other side over there, and then there's a couple of standard bolts just holding that frame in. Let's get them dropped first. Now as soon as I've dropped them, I'm then going to drop this sway bar here. So there's two nuts on this sway bar either side. I'm going to drop them two, and then I believe it's just this big nut here to take out, which should drop the steering rack. So I suppose the only way to learn out and try and find it is by having a go, so let's get cracking. So this little under tray here, this needs to come out, but it is stuck. So I get a screwdriver and get under there, but the next thing I need to get off, once I've done that, is these bolts here. So they are 19mm. 19 seems a little bit flexible on there. We'll just try an 18 maybe, but if not, we'll zap a 19 out, because that's one side of that brace. There's a 19 there, there's a 19 there, which the brace is on. So let's get this bottom tray off first, and then we can get to that 19mm bolt dropped out of here, which is under here somewhere. There's a little plastic clip under there that needs to come out. There we are, that's that one out, and then there'll be another one on the other side. Under tray. Which is just a 19. If you can see that. It's just a 19mm right here. Again. So that's a 19mm. And where's the rest of them? There's another one here. There it is there. There you go. The tray's starting to drop down now, as you can see. So I've left the front two in. So just there's that tray or that brace. The cables do join to there. And the cables for the steering rack are just here, out of the way. I've took 4 bolts out off this tray, and I'm just dropping the tray down on the underneath of the support for the steering rack. So that is the last bolt out, and I'm just going to snip, I think, on the steering rack. There's this cable tie just there. Should just drop down in 1 minute. There we go, and the tray's out. So, tray's just out for now. All the cables currently disconnected by one, which is just here.
Got the metal under tray there, all the cables are tie wrapped into that, so you just, there's 4 bolts, or 5 bolts, 6 bolts in either corner, 19mm the majority of them, and there's 2 of them which are a multi-spline bolt, 14mm, which are the 2 front bolts. Now, all I need to do now is drop the front sway bar. So, front sway bar is this bit here, and it feels like it's that one. That one's a perfect fit. So 13mm on the front. Just drop that sway bar, and I think the steering rack should just come out. Now, everyone keeps telling me these are bloody heavy, so we'll soon see if they are. So that's the sway bar off. Perfect. And there's another 2 nuts. And then we'll do this one here. Just here. This bar here. We'll drop as soon as this heads off. Ow! Like so. And that moves out the way so we can get our 2 main bolts out. So let's get all these bits together so we don't lose them, and then we're going to drop these 2 main nuts, which are these big bolts here, and that steering rack should in theory just drop out. What I did hear people say is don't drop it right out, and also don't lose these, because these are what the bolt goes through. So I'm going to drop this down slowly. The jack's over there, and someone said to me that they're really friggin' heavy. Do you know why we don't need to do that? Because I'm from the northeast, and we can bench press this thing out. Right, so there's right. Oh yeah, that is quite heavy though. I haven't done something. Right, I've made a mistake already. Push that back up. Just for your information, these are quite heavy. I haven't disconnected it from. Yes guys, I made an absolute mistake here. So I started dropping the steering rack before I actually took it off the steering column. Now, I think it's called a JC unit or something. I could be absolutely incorrect, but all I know is that there's 2 bolts that hold the steering rack in, which are pretty much out here. But I'm just making sure that I get it sat there, and I put a jack underneath it just to make sure that this is secure, because the last thing that I want is something dropping on my head while I'm trying to get that other bolt out. So this is a steering column here, so just took a bolt out of there, and as you can see, I'm now starting to lower the jack nice and slow, nice and steady, just to see if the steering rack's coming out. And yeah, it's working perfect. So I do advise, if you're taking this out at home on the driveway, put a jack underneath, keep yourself safe, and slowly lower that steering rack. Now, what I did find is there's a problem. It's a bit stiff near where it connects to the steering wheel, so the best thing to do is just get the rack dropped on one side, drop it down to the floor, and then you can start to work your way on that steering rack end. But the best thing I found for this was just to put a screwdriver in and just to try and work it out or prise it out nice and slow, and the results speak for itself. Oh my goodness, that is heavy. Right, that was a hard job. So now that we've got the steering rack out and it's on the driveway, I'm going to check this apart, but I think it's mechanically knackered, the unit. They're quite big units, these steering racks. Obviously that's a new tracker then we just put on the other side. Didn't put a boot on there just for now, just while we were waiting. So I just think it's fair to say that I think this piece is absolutely shattered, but I think you can get them refurbed, so I might just stick that on eBay, and I'm trying to get a new one, which again, this is where the bad news comes in. So I've been waiting nearly 3 weeks for this part to come. Now these are about 750 quid to buy off eBay if you go with like next day, and I'm thinking that's really expensive and I want to try and find something a bit cheaper. So I was looking on eBay, I found one for 350 quid, I put a bid in, and yeah, the guy down south said, yeah great, I'll get it shipped out to you. And then this is where the nightmare just unfolded, because I've been waiting for 3 weeks. He said he dispatched it 3 or 4 different times. He wasn't getting back to me. He said, yeah, I've got a courier coming. This was like 2 weeks in on the Sunday. I've got a courier coming to drop it off at your house by Sunday, 6 PM. Silly old me, waited in till 6 PM. It just didn't arrive. Now ignore the mess. Please say hello to the new steering rack that I've just got all the way back from Bradford. Now I'm hoping it works, and if it does, I'm going to give a massive shout out to the guys at Bradford for sorting me out. Yes, it was still expensive, but it's literally come ready just to plug the cables in, drop it in, and it's come from an Audi A4 as well. It's a matching part code as well, so I think we're on to a winner. So we've got to get this, get it slid underneath there into the bottom of the car, and as you can imagine, I'm absolutely shitting myself because it's a lot of money and it better fix that problem. Let's get a time lapse going. And I'm not going to lie at this point in time and say this is really easy to do on your own, because it really isn't. These steering racks are very heavy, especially for one person, especially when you're on your drive and you've got your car jacked up. So all I'll say is get a couple of jacks underneath, take your time, and make sure you get the steering column element in first. So get that piece in first, and once you've got it in, you should be able to slide it towards the driver's side up, and then your passenger side sort of follows after. So there's a bit of a process there. It's a bit of a fiddly job. You definitely need 2 hands. So I had to call in for an extra pair of hands just to hold the other side of the steering rack just to get this in. But we've got it in now. Let's have a look. Right, the moment of truth. I've connected her up. Let's see if we have no code on the dash for the steering. Fingers crossed, guys. This is a big moment. Oh God, I feel nervous now. Oh my goodness, guys. We've got a yellow amber warning light, but I think you get that. I think that just means you've got to move your steering back and forward. I think the yellow one means it just needs adaptation or something. I don't want to move the wheel because nothing's connected yet, but I think we might be in a good position. It's not red anymore, it's yellow. I think we've cracked it. Right, it's not fully connected yet. I need to get it connected up. I need to get the underneath connected. I need to get it back in its unit. But that light is yellow and not red. So I think we might have finally got some steering. So I think that's all we've got time for today, guys. And I want to apologise because really it's been a pain in the arse. So I've got a couple of videos going back on the Caddy just while we wait. I've got some upgrades to come, got some sponsors for the Caddy as well. So we're going to bring the Caddy back into action. The Caddy's ready for a sand down as well, which if you haven't gone and seen that, go and check out the Caddy project. And for now, guys, I'll leave you on that one. See you guys on the next one. Peace.